On a fine spring day, you are out on a walk at India Gate in Delhi. You need to know how to reach the Supreme Court, and for some reason, you are in your own helicopter. I don't know, maybe you're the chief minister of some state this time. So you ask someone for directions. In order to convey this information, you and the Bhala Manas जो तुम्हें directions बताएगा need to come up with a map, and both of you should agree to a common set of rules for position. So you both decide that we call north direction as the y-axis and the east direction as the x-axis. You call one unit in either direction as 1 kilometer. So any location in the city could be represented by a set of numbers x, y. Maybe the Supreme Court would have the coordinates 1, 2. This 1, 2 here is a vector in the two-dimensional plane R2. Such vectors are usually called position vectors. Another way to represent this vector is an arrow from the origin to this point. This arrow notation helps in visualization, but this is not a rule set in stone for all vectors. In fact, for most vectors, such visualizations are not even possible. So we have the India Gate at the origin and the Supreme Court at 1, 2. Now let's see what kind of operations on this vector make sense. What about doubling the vector? अगर पायलट जी को कहा गया कि 2u डिस्प्लेसमेंट करो तो वो आपको यहाँ 2, 4 पे ले जाएंगे. सो मल्टीप्लिकेशन बाय अ स्केलर c मेक्स सेंस. जो नया वेक्टर 2u है उसका मैग्नीट्यूड इज 2 टाइम्स, लेकिन द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द वेक्टर रिमेन्स द सेम एज द ओरिजिनल वेक्टर u. Unless c is negative, in which case the direction flips by 180 degree but is still along this line. Now as usual, कोर्ट ने आगे की डेट दे दी एंड यू डिसाइड कि चलो सीपी के लॉर्ड ऑफ द ड्रिंक्स जाके सेलिब्रेट किया जाए. आप फिर से डायरेक्शंस पूछते हो एंड सम अदर भाला मानस टेल्स यू टू गो वेस्ट बाय 3 किलोमीटर्स एंड नॉर्थ बाय 2 किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम योर करंट लोकेशन. मतलब अगर इसको ओरिजिन माने तो यू नीड टू गेट टू -3,2. विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द ओरिजिनल ओरिजिन, -3,2 lies somewhere over here. Lord of the drinks from the court is at -3,2, but from the original it is at u plus v, that is 1, 2 plus -3,2, that is -2,4. And that is essentially how vector addition works. Turns out that these two basic operations of vector addition and scalar multiplication are enough to make sense out of a whole lot of things. It's called taking a linear combination of u and v and is written as au plus bv, where a and b take all real values. Now let's look at an informal definition. A real vector space consists of a set V, where elements of V are called vectors, and two operations. First, an operation called vector addition that takes two vectors u and v from the set V and produces a third vector written u plus v, which must belong to the set V. And the second, an operation called scalar multiplication that takes a scalar c from R and a vector v from the set V and produces a new vector written cv, which must belong to the set V. Now these must satisfy the following conditions or axioms. Just read them once and you'll get what they mean. अब ये जो वेक्टर स्पेस है इसको बिरयानी की तरह समझ सकते हैं. Think of the set V and the definition of the two operations as चावल and chicken. और ये जो axioms हैं ये वो rules हैं जो operations को follow करने ही करने हैं. Just like a recipe that you must follow to cook the biryani. अगर एक ingredient गलत हो गया, जैसे कि vector addition की जगह you define vector multiplication, then it's not a vector space. जस्ट लाइक बिरयानी में नॉन वेज की जगह इफ यू पुट वेजीज तो वो बिरयानी नहीं पुलाव होता है. सिमिलरली अगर द डेफिनेशंस ऑफ वेक्टर एडिशन एंड मल्टीप्लिकेशन डोंट सैटिस्फाई द एक्सियम्स देन इट्स नॉट अ वेक्टर स्पेस. जैसे अगर रेसिपी ही फॉलो नहीं करी तो बिरयानी नहीं होगी. जस्ट टू बी क्लियर, अ वेक्टर इज जस्ट एन एलिमेंट ऑफ अ वेक्टर स्पेस. Euclidean vectors like the ones used to represent a force have a magnitude and direction, but these are just a type of vector and not the general concept for all vectors. Vectors are supposed to be abstract mathematical objects with some particular properties. Now let's look at some examples. Let V be the set of n by 1 column matrices and we define the two operations as follows: vector addition and scalar multiplication. If I take two vectors from the set V and add them, the result would still be inside the set V. Same goes for scalar multiplication. So the definitions are well defined and we say that this is closed under addition and multiplication. Now we can verify that all the axioms are satisfied. I'll show two of these. First, associativity. Adding u and v first and then adding w to it is the same thing as adding v and w first and then adding u to them. Next, existence of negatives. For vector u, there exists a vector minus u such that adding them together produces the zero vector. Let's take another example. Let V be the set of all polynomials of degree less than or equal to n, and the following are the definitions of the operations. Vector addition, when adding two vectors, we add the coefficients of the variables of the same degree, and scalar multiplication is just multiplying the constant to every component. Verifying the axioms is again straightforward in this case. Now some of you might be confused as to why do we even need to define vector addition and scalar multiplication alag se when you already know how to add and multiply. The thing is that what we call addition depends on the mathematical objects that we are looking at. The way you add real numbers and the way you add complex numbers or even matrices is not exactly the same. Similarly, multiplying two numbers like 5 into 2 essentially means add 5 twice. But scalar multiplication of a matrix works in a different way. You multiply every entry by the constant number. It has specifically been defined in a way so that it makes logical sense and we could have matrices as part of a vector space. Now let's talk about linear combinations of the position vectors u and v. Let me first plot them on the xy plane. अब इनके linear combinations au plus bv लेकर मैं कहाँ पहुँच सकता हूँ on this plane. For a equal to 1, b equal to 1, I just add the two vectors and reach minus 2, 4. For a equal to 2 and b equal to minus 1, and with some simple algebra, we reach here on 5, 2. On the graph, you move twice in the u direction and then go in the negative v direction. What if I take a equal to 3 and b equal to minus 0.5? Now we reach at 4.5, 5. And if we take all values of a and b, eventually I will be able to reach every single point on the xy plane. So we say that the linear combinations of u and v span the entire two-dimensional space R2. But there is nothing so special about these two vectors कि बस यही दोनों span कर सकते हैं R2 को. Another set of vectors say 3, 8 and minus 1, minus 4 will also span R2. And so do infinite other combinations of vectors. Always remember this simple fact. Now let's add another dimension to the mix and make u a three-dimensional vector. Let's try to plot this vector u and let's figure out इसके linear combinations का span. It is this line that has the points 2, 4, 0 or something like the point minus 1, minus 2, 0. But it's impossible to reach something that is not on this line, like the point x here. Now let's bring back v with a third dimension as well. V is again going to lie on the xy plane somewhere over here. Now if we were allowed to take linear combinations of u and v both, and I ask the same question again, ki what all possible positions can I reach by taking the linear combinations? The answer would be that you can cover everything on the xy plane. But z direction में movement possible नहीं है. No linear combination can ever give me something like 0, 0, 1. So these two vectors together span a plane, a two-dimensional plane in R3. Now let me add a third vector w here. And then take linear combinations of these three. Let's take a as 1, b as 1 and c as 5. So the linear combination would be u plus v plus 5w, giving me minus 2, 4, 5. This point would lie above the xy plane as the z coordinate is no more 0. Now if I keep the values of a and b as 1 but vary c, I would span this entire line perpendicular to the xy plane. And now by varying a and b as well, I can go to any point in this xy plane and then start moving along the z direction. This way, u, v and w span the entire three-dimensional space. What about a five-dimensional space? If we talk about positional or spatial vectors, it's not possible to imagine something beyond x, y and z, that is 3 dimensions. तो अगर मेरे पास दो vectors हैं, say u equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and v equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the linear combination of u and v would span a two-dimensional space in R5. And this 2D plane is a vector space in itself and is called a subspace of the original space. But when exactly is a subset or span of vectors called a subspace? It's when the subset is itself a vector space with the rules of vector addition and scalar multiplication of the original space. Now if you ever need to check if a given set is a subspace, just check that for all vectors x, y belonging to this set, their sum and scalar multiple is still inside the span or subset. That is, they are closed under scalar multiplication and vector addition. Notice that for c equal to 0, we get the 0 vector. So all valid subspaces or even vector spaces must contain the origin or the 0 vector.